On September 11th, 2001, I was working at an insurance company. I was at my desk, and my office manager saw some news and gathered us into the conference room. And we were very affected by this immediately because we were talking with brokers in the World Trade Center every day as part of our business. So we knew a lot of people that were in higher floors, at least by phone. We also that day had a couple of my managers, including my direct boss, in New York, and they did witness the whole event from a high-rise building as the second plane flew by. So we had people trapped in the city that we knew, and didn't get out until the next day, and came back to the office really emotionally wrecked. I didn't realize it until later, but my cousin John was in the Pentagon. He was a colonel in the Army, and he was in the Pentagon that day when the plane hit the Pentagon. He never felt a thing. He was on the other side of the building, and he was fine, but I did have family, involved in a direct way. I didn't lose anybody personally directly that day, but I can tell you that the whole day we went rapidly from confusion and fear, and we didn't know what was happening, to anger. By the time of the second plane, we obviously knew we were under a terrorist attack. That registered with everybody very quickly. Feelings of intense patriotism. I know that I reacted with millions of other Americans by going straight home and putting my American flag out. And that was something very vivid for weeks and months after September 11th. You couldn't find an American flag in a store. They were just bought immediately off the shelves. I also responded immediately the next day by going and donating blood, hoping that we could help some survivors. And that was a national outpouring kind of reaction. There are just so many things to think about. And then I do have to share my long story about a friend. One of my best friends from reenacting responded to September 11th by joining the National Guard. And he was in the airport, at ABE Airport, guarding us for the months after the attack. And a random person went into the airport that day, one day while he was on duty, and took pictures of him. His name is Chris Geiger. And she took pictures of him, and she's an artist, and she went home and she painted a painting of Chris. And just this painting. And then unfortunately Chris went to Afghanistan and passed away there in service. And then she found, several years later, about 6 years later, found his obituary in some newspapers that she was using in an art project, realized that she had painted a picture of Chris, and ended up contacting me indirectly, and we got that painting to his family. So there's an awful lot of ripples from September 11th that kind of keep going on. I never want to forget it, and I'm sure none of us ever will. I wear this every September 11th. This was given to me by a friend at Guardian. Her response the next day was to make a couple hundred of these overnight, and she handed them in to all of us on September 12th, and we wore them at Guardian for weeks and months after the event. I wear this every year to remind myself of September 11th.